to the double serving of top 100s today. This is a double-decker ice cream cone for you all.
So many board games.
So
double
many flavors.
stuffed Oreo cookie, double everything.
Oh, double mint gum right there.
Yes.
You guys, do you remember double mint gum?
Double your pleasure,
Yes.
double
I feel
your
like
fun.
you can't find any of that except for the dollar store. It's the only
I
place you can
know.
find sugared gum.
And juicy fruit gum,
Not that I
all
want
of that.
sugared gum, because the flavor lasts 2
Was
seconds.
it what's the zebra striped gum?
Oh,
I don't remember, but
that,
Big
like,
Red,
fruity.
all that stuff.
Oh, I don't like Big Red. Anyways, I'm Wendy Yee.
Jason Levine, the gaming machine.
And Roy Kennedy.
And today on our second helping, we wanted to give a shout out to the Jack Vassal Fund. So Jason over here is going to tell us a little bit about it, but it is an auction that is going on to support people in need. And so you can donate games, you can buy games. There's lots of stuff going on through a BGG list. So go ahead, take it away, Jason.
Yeah, so as you know, many years ago when I first met Tom, his son Jack was in the hospital and passed away very early in life. And there was a lot of people who gave a very good outpouring of support to Tom, sent all this stuff down here. And Tom was so appreciative, he decided to start a fund where we could support other gamers in need. And we've given out
It's
lots
like a
of
whole
money.
nonprofit foundation,
Yes,
right? This
yes.
is like
it's
legit.
a nonprofit
It's not-
charity.
yeah.
We've given out lots and lots of money and lots and lots of money for people who had houses wrecked from tornadoes, for people who had hospital things, all sorts of things. You could read all about the stories on the Jack Vassal Memorial website, not the Board Game Geek list, but on the website you could read about all those things. And in the Geek list that you can see we just posted in the chat, which is Geek list number 333009, we're going until May 12th, and there's all sorts of cool things. It's not just board games, it's events, it's other things. So if you want to get special items, everyone who puts these items in, they're putting it in for free. They're not getting paid for the stuff that they put in. They're doing it
Right.
to help out the charity. And then the money that you bid all goes into the charity. And unlike a lot of charities, over 90% of the money is used to give back. There is not many overhead costs with this charity, so we make sure to give all the money back. It is for a good cause. It's to help our community and help gamers who are in need. It's just a great thing.
Right.
And the cool thing is, like, you see a lot of unique items. A lot of publishers will come in and put up items. And I mean, you can put in items yourself if you have like something unique or something that you want to add to the list and then send out to somebody to help support. Or you can find something that you want to back, and then all of those proceeds will go to help people like other gamers like us in need that are just in situations that they can't cover themselves.
Exactly. It's wonderful. Every year I say support this because it's important, and we're helping our own community, which is a very important thing.
Gamers helping gamers.
And if you don't know about this fund and you have a need, there are ways to apply for it and stuff. All that information is online as
Yes, and I think it's JackVassalMemorialFund.org, I think is the website, the main website. So if you go there, you could get more information about
The organization as a whole. Yeah.
Yes, the organization and how to, JackVassal.org. Yes, just JackVassal.org. And you can go there to JackVassal.org and find out how to request if you need help, because you know we're here to help. So if you need help, go there and you could find out how you could get help.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started with the next up on our list. What number are we on now? 70?
70.
70.
Harry, have you seen my sticky note with Board Game Animals Dice Tower number on it? No. Mickey?
No, Connie.
Yeah, Harry ate that.
Hold on, did our game just end?
Oh no, we're at 70.
Oh, 70s.
Oh, it's so cute. I like all the little animals.
Don't you hate it when your pets start talking and you just never expected them to? You know, it's
That's
just crazy.
adorable. Slightly creepy, but also adorable. Also, I own no pets because everyone in my family is like highly allergic to everything. Okay, my number 70, it was 46 last year, which was pretty awesome. And this is Adventure Tactics.
Oh.
So I am not always a fight and battle person, as Roy clearly knows. But Adventure Tactics is a cooperative boss battler, and you have these characters. But unlike Gloomhaven and some of these other bigger games where you dungeon crawl and you level up over all this time, after every single level or every single battle, you level up. And you're changing the cards that you're going to get in your deck. And you get to multi-class. You could be like, hey, I'm a wizard. Now I'm going to become a necromancer. Or I'm a wizard and I'm going to become a paladin. Like, there's just so many different options that you
Feels
can
like
mix.
you multi-class, right?
Yeah, you like super multi-class. And the book has all these different ways that you can get into different specialties. So you're like, oh, I'm going to be a rogue and an archer, and it doesn't really lead to anything specific, but you're like, but if I'm a rogue and I don't know, something else, then I'm going to become this other. So it's just fun how like it all combines together. It's very thematic. And like I said, like you move up every single game, which just makes it fun. So it's a quick campaign. We played this with our daughter. We loved it because every boss felt completely different. And I appreciate that too.
That's awesome. I've only
you guys
played this
played it?
one time, but I thought it was a lot of fun.
Which one did you fight?
It was one of the first ones. It was a game that we played with Tom. I'm not exactly sure, but I just remember having fun, like moving the characters around and all the card play. I didn't get to see as much of the cool leveling up that everybody says after you play a bunch of them back to back, but yeah, it sounds really fun.
I was a necromancer, and so I had all these little skeletons.
Oh,
But I just,
nice.
They were
pop
so
up.
weak, but they would take the hit for me, and they would just die. And I'd be like, ha ha, I'm going to shoot a fireball at you.
I love it.
Throw
That's
another
awesome.
skeleton in the way.
Yeah, this is one I haven't played, but dungeon crawls aren't my favorite style game.
What?
They're not. I mean, you knew that. So you knew that going into this, that I'm more of a Euro person.
I'm shocked by your list so far. It definitely hasn't been Euros at all.
Speaking of Euros, this is sort of a nod to Wendy from last list, which was
I
done
thought we were
earlier
going to have
today.
a change of heart this list. I talked to you guys about this 10 could be the fun games 10.
This is.
There are fun games
Did you
in
see what I
here.
put up,
I know.
Ryan?
That's I'm
Okay.
congratulating
I'm trying.
you.
I'm
Thank
trying.
you.
I
Good
have-
pick. Good pick.
I have some really fun games in this 10,
Okay.
one of which is San Juan.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I like this one.
So, if you like Terraforming Mars, the card game, or if you like Race for the Galaxy, San Juan was the original,
Predecessor to that.
the most basic original, where you have cards in your hand and you're going to play them down. You're going to use the cards in your hand to throw them out to add the resources, and you're trying to build a tableau of cards that all have cool powers that will score you points. It was kind of a spin-off of Puerto Rico, and it is a wonderful action selection, follow leader action selection game. I really enjoy this one, and the basicness of it is great, and it's a good intro game for people.
Am I making up this story, or was one of the designers that designed San Juan and one of the designers that designed Race for the Galaxy, didn't they work together initially and then they split ways?
They did. Originally,
Drama?
it was, well, what happened was they wanted to design a game.
Wait, you got a
which-
name drop. What's their names? That you personally met.
Tom Lehman, who did do Race for the Galaxy, and they were contracted to do a game which was going to be the follow-up to Puerto Rico, which was going to be a card game, and they worked on it together, and then they both worked on it individually, and they came out with 2 games. And so we got the pleasure of getting both San Juan and Race for the Galaxy out of this, so we get 2 great games
For the price of what?
that taste great together or play great together.
So one is San Juan in space and the other one is San Juan.
Exactly.
I love chat just straight up calling me out, being like, "Oh, Roy just feigns like in the Brown games or whatever," just like nod my head nicely. Yeah, okay, cool, cool.
I'm gonna sit over here in my little corner on the side and not talk.
I like beige. Beige is a good color for games.
Very neutral.
Awesome. Well, my number 70 is let's get into some action, some real-time action. This is a cooperative real-time game.
Ooh.
We're all slamming down cards as fast as possible. This is 5-Minute Marvel.
There's no
We're
toys
having
involved?
To work together, speeding through, playing all these different characters and all the different cards that just try to defeat a whole bunch of different stuff. Oh, there's a Hydra. Gotta play the right cards to do it out. Oh, there's this. Oh, you gotta play the right cards to do this out. Super fast, super cooperative. Like, oh no, I'm stuck with my cards. I can't play anything. Okay, discard some cards from your hand, draw some more. There's just a crazy frantic thing. I played this a ton with Ruthie, and it's just so much fun. It's just I enjoy these games, like playing them at conventions, just cooperative games where you work together and like try to make stuff happen real snappy. Definitely a whirlwind of a game, but 5-Minute Marvel's a lot of fun.
I feel like this should be like a G Fuel drinking game. Like you play one round, and if you don't win, then you have to like drink some
Yeah.
G Fuel, and you get faster.
Oh yeah, you need that
just like-
speed boost. But yeah, I played the original 5-Minute Dungeon or whatever from this, and it was a lot of fun, but I really enjoy the Marvel theme on it as well. You could throw Dungeon in there also, but it's just cool to see like the different characters, how they play slightly different, have a little bit different of a power, and then
Yes.
you play with increasing bosses that just have more symbols that you have to throw out faster to be able to get through. But it's so much fun playing this one.
It's fun. It's chaotic. I enjoy this game. I like this theme better than the original theme
Oh, yeah,
as
for sure.
well.
Nice.
Nice.
Hello, Dice Tower World. There's 2 things I know. Mike Delicio's a national treasure, and the next number on the list is fire.
Oh, I wanted to see Explode more. I was honestly hoping that he was gonna like freeze it. Have you ever seen like when they like freeze a glove and then they shatters on the ground?
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was gonna happen.
Yes.
But 69 is fire because it is Return to Dark Tower.
Nice.
Yeah. See, Roy, I told you they're gonna be fun games
Wow.
this time round.
You're like a whole different person this
I
this
am.
time.
All
Let's see if we can keep it up.
all the theme, all
All
the
the
moving
theme.
minis on boards. Return to Dark Tower, honestly, I had zero interest in this game when it first came out. When I was hearing about it, and I was like, are you serious? Like, a Bluetooth tower that's going to make noise and drop skulls? Like, this just sounds terrible. It did. It sounded terrible. But it's surprisingly a fun game. I wish it was a little bit shorter, is my only complaint about this. But when we do sit down and I'm in the mood for like this length of a cooperative game, it's a lot of fun. So it's app driven, which means that a lot of that cleanup stuff that happens in these type of games just happens automatically. You're like, boom, all the cards are dealt, boom, you know what I mean? Everything's just done. Like the app does it for you, which I appreciate so much. And then on top of that, you have individual characters that feel like they have real powers. So you start out with like your banner ability and you start out with some, you know, like your little power-up stuff, but then throughout the game, you can gain more abilities as you unlock them.
Oh, wow.
And so you get to really focus in on what you want your player to be. And the expansions that add more player powers, like new unique players, I just think that that's fun to be able to really switch that out and be like, okay, I'm going to be this person. Like the most recent expansion that Chris and I reviewed, I had a character that had spells on the side.
Oh, nice.
And so I was like a druid in D&D where I had to like prep spells each day.
Oh, cool.
And I could
love
pick
that.
which ones I wanted, and those spells were super beneficial to me as well as everybody else. And so I really liked that. And so there's just a lot of fun stuff in this cooperative game. And then, of course, all the different scenarios that you set up feel a little different. Like there's obviously a lot of the same mechanisms, but you know, what are we trying to do? We're trying to beat this boss, or we're trying to meet these objectives before we get to the boss. Like there's just different things.
And I like
it
how
all.
easy this game is to actually play when it comes down to it.
Yes.
You know, it's like even though there's a bunch of stuff going on, it's got a tower and you're dropping things in it and things are spinning around and crazy noises coming out. It's relatively pretty easy to like play and like work together to make happen. So I had a lot
Yeah,
of fun
and the
with
app
it.
just tells you what to do, so there's not a lot of like
Yeah.
heavy lifting at the beginning.
Exactly. Oh, I own both versions of this game. I had the original version, which literally had a little punch pad and an LED thing that went boop, 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 boop with 8-bit noise.
That's funny.
And this version has improved the game. I know Restoration, their whole thing is improving games and
Yeah.
restoring them to better. And this one did it. I wish Justin had shown me the original tower. And in the original tower, which they couldn't make it in a finalized version, the doors, you didn't have to slide them. They would
Oh, they'd
pop
pop
off.
off?
They would
Yeah, I
burst and
remember
pop
seeing that.
off at certain times. You didn't even
Oh
have
my
to
goodness.
do them. And it was so cool. But obviously they couldn't make a version like that for the final product. But it's amazing to see all the work that went into what's like a little computer that runs everything that works so well.
That's awesome.
I still to this day wish that it was a real Bluetooth speaker that I could just keep on my shelf and like play music from.
Yes, I
With like
agree.
high quality speaker, that would be so cool.
So my number 69 is I'm going Norse here. It's not the game you think it is. It's a Euro game.
Is it Raiders?
No, it
Well, I
is.
mean, I thought it was probably going to be a Euro game.
It's Yggdrasil.
Oh, cooperative game though.
It's a cooperative game, and it's a great cooperative game. And you are all the different Norse gods, and you're trying to fix the Yggdrasil tree, and you're trying to each god has different powers, and you're trying to do a bunch of things. And it is a really
hard to win.
hard to win. It's a tough.
It's very tough.
very Euro, and it's very tough to win. But it is such a phenomenal game, and I think it's such a good co-op game. I know it's been out of print for a while, but it is a very, very solid Euro game.
Yeah, I've played it, and it is definitely like rough because all the different bad guys are trying to move up on these tracks and you're trying to figure out ways to pull them back down so that way you don't lose the game. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun, and it feels like even though is it set collection mostly, or I forgot how like
yeah.
you do the different stuff because I've only played it. It's been a really long time. This game's been out for a while, but yeah, it was enjoyable.
Is this one that you lose more than you win?
Yes,
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. It's closer to the vein of like Ghost Stories sort of thing, where it's like
Okay.
if you win, you have to get really lucky to win.
Yeah.
you know?
Because you have to go through rounds, and there's like 36 rounds, and you have to You can't just win. You have to survive through
You can
36
play
rounds.
perfectly with the cards you're dealt and still lose the game.
Yes.
You have to be playing perfectly with the cards you're dealt and the bad guys,
lucky.
and the cards come out of the deck in the right order. For you.
Yes.
Okay.
It's really rough. Well, speaking of fire, my number 69 is definitely fire. It is Flamecraft. Dragons again! But yeah, these are cute little dragons. They're doing all sorts of different stuff around the town.
This
but
is 100% a Euro game, Roy.
This is
You and I
definitely
have
a Euro
swapped.
game. This is
Yes.
a game, but it's very thematic and it's very cutesy. The thing is, I enjoy Euro games when they're like light, family weight, and simple stuff. This is like a set collection Euro game where you're sending your dragons around to different places to get the different resources to be able to fulfill different contracts and getting those buildings built out onto the board, getting all of your different dragons. It's just like a super fun, super cute, super simple game, and I just really enjoyed playing Flamecraft. So.
All that positive interaction of like every time you go to a space, you make it stronger. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to be like, okay, well, I'm going to wait to see if somebody else goes there first to make it stronger so then I can go there after. You know, those
Yeah.
interesting decisions are kind of cool.
And the art in this one is just really good in this
Yeah.
game as
It
well.
is. I like the watercolor effect.
But yeah, my 69, Flamecraft.
The year of the eclipse, and my opportunity to bring you number 68.
I can see clearly now the eclipse is gone. Okay, my number 69,
8.
68, there we go,
Do it.
was 23, it was 18, and now 68. Once again, just because I haven't played it in a long time, and that is Teotihuacan. Sorry, Roy, I had to.
Broke the streak.
I had to break it. I could only handle so much non-Euro stuff in my life. So Teotihuacan, City of the Gods. This is like Rondell Spreadsheet the game, and I am just in heaven playing it. Like, it's so great. You have dice, and those dice never get rolled. They just level up every time you go to a spot, which is beautiful. I love it.
Yep.
And then the more you have on a space, the more you get to look down the little spreadsheet to see what rewards you get. And so you're like, ooh, I came here and I have a level 1. Well, that sucks. But it's going to level up to a level 2, and I'm going to move it to a space that also has a level 2, and then I get something awesome. And it's just great. And you're trying to build a cool pyramid in the middle, and there's tracks, and there's tracks, and there's tracks, and there's rewards, and there's bonuses. It's wonderful. That's all.
I love this game too. It, you know, a lot of the T games are great, and this one with the dice, and you level them up, you let them die to get new dice coming in, and
They ascend. They don't die. They ascend. Okay.
you let them ascend or die.
Spreadsheet. Fun spreadsheet is what she said.
So much fun.
Okay.
I love it.
is.
I love it.
It is. So my number 68 is not a spreadsheet game, but it's a very fun game. It's a game that I'm going to say, I think it's going to win an award this year, one of the Dice Star Awards. It's Sky Team.
Oh,
I
nice.
really believe this is going to win our two-player
world
game
of
of the year.
tomorrow.
It is such a good game. You are...
Have you played this yet, Roy?
I haven't. I want to play it. I
Oh,
like
yeah.
cooperative games.
It's a cooperative two-player game, which is rare.
Limited
And
information. Yeah.
hidden information. You're rolling dice. You're trying to use the dice to tilt your plane, to put up the flaps, put the wings down, put tires down, make sure that you're coming in at the right speed. You have to get the other planes out of the way so you don't crash into other planes in the sky. And everything about the game just works. And it's one of probably my favorite two-player games of all time. And it's just come out this year, and it is great. I also got to play the expansion recently, Turbulence, where they added a turbulence
nice.
thing into it, and there's all new effects and things. And I'm guessing that's going to come out at Essen.
Because there's already so many little mini
Yes.
modules throughout the thing.
that's
And so
cool.
you're like, I'm playing base thing. And then they give you modules that make it harder and easier. And you're like, okay, well, this is harder this way, but easier this way. And another module, harder,
Interesting.
easier. So it stays balanced, which I appreciate.
Is there a module where you have to like try to get people to sign up for freaking Flyer Miles credit cards or
That's the next expansion.
Sky Team? It takes a whole team.
The pay for your own seat expansion.
Yes.
An upgrade to first class expansion.
Oh.
All right, my 68 is a party game. And I can't describe this game in just one word because the title is 2 words, but it is just one. But I would say fun is one word you could choose there. But as long as I don't match with somebody else, and then that gets erased. But yeah, Just One is a great cooperative game where you're all trying to have the person guess a specific word. You can only write one word down. You compare all those words together. If anybody writes the same things, those go away, and then they look at those words and you guess what it is. It's an extremely simple game, but it just works so well. It's worked in like every situation I've had it in. I played it with friends, I played it with family, I played it with my game group, I played it with non-gamers. It's just so much fun, and this works awesomely. And it's like, if this is kind of like my go-to party game right now for if I want to teach someone, especially someone who's not into gaming, like a party game, or just have a game like, oh, let's check this out, let's put this together, because it's cooperative and it's just simple. It's just ridiculously simple. I used to always go to cooperative games for teaching people new games that aren't into games, just because then you can work together. But this one just takes it to the next level of like just how easy and how fun it is to play.
Where's the Just Two expansion?
I don't know. Then you have to do 2 words, and the second word has to do, hopefully that doesn't complicate it too much, So, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I love this game. I love, you're sitting there going, do I want to pick a weird word?
Right.
Because if I pick a common word, then everyone else will pick the common word. And when you flip that, and you're like, oh, we have the same
Everybody
word.
picked the weird word.
I
Nobody
know.
picked the common word.
It's just the reactions and everything from this game work so well. And again, it's why it won a Dice Tower Award for Party Game of the Year, because it's that good of a game.
Awesome. Just one.
And now, in the top 100 countdown, it's time for number... Wait, what number is it?
67!
Oh, yeah.
There's like a carrot radish potato in the middle. It was very cute. I want to eat a carrot radish potato. It was like a whole meal in one vegetable right there. That would be amazing. You could just chop it up, stick it in. Anyways, stick some soup on it.
There you go.
Okay, my number 67 is one that is new to me. It's one that took me forever to get around to actually playing. But I say forever, it was still from last year. But I felt like it was forever for me to start playing.
You just really wanted to play it.
And it's a crossover with Jason, and that is Forest Shuffle.
Oh,
nice. Yes.
I really liked this, and I knew I was going to like it going in. Like, Chris explained this game to me like 7 times, and he was like, and I was like, what is it again? I kept forgetting it because I just hadn't played it. And by the time I actually got to playing it, I was like, oh, yes, of course I love this. This is everything I want.
Oh, nice.
You're building trees. And then in those trees, you're adding animals to the habitat of the tree. And then those have all very specific scoring conditions based on either that tree or the other trees around. So you could have a butterfly, and the butterflies all score based on what variety of butterflies you have. But you can only ever tuck them on the top of the trees.
Oh,
and so you're like, okay, am I going to dedicate all the tops of my trees to the different types of butterflies? Oh, what about the ants? The ants are good for every bug I have. Okay, well, I'm going to take the ants and the butterflies because now I have 2 different types of bugs on the same type of trees, but I'm waiting for the ants to come out, and while the ants come out, the fox comes out. So it's just fun to like try to find those interesting little synergies and engine building. And honestly, this is one of those games that like I could never win a game, and I would still be so happy by the end of the game because I made a cool system and I found a cool bit of connection.
Oh, nice.
And that's what matters to me. And so it's fun. It's a good game.
Is there any
Makes me
actual
happy.
engine building in this?
Yes,
or it's just
there is engine building. So I just played this again shout out to Joey at the Big Game Bash, which we were just at this weekend. And for those of you who are in the
it's like a mini convention at Fort Myers.
It's a mini convention for 2 days in Fort Myers on the west side of Florida that we go and support Joey at every like 2 months or so. And we just played it again there. And I think in future years, this is going to move up on my list because I enjoy it so much. And yeah, there's engine building. So I did something I had never done before. I got this mushroom, a chanterelle, and every time that I got to plant another tree, I got to draw a card. So I just had this crazy engine of planting trees and drawing cards. And I didn't put many creatures on my trees because I was just busy building trees out. And
you built the whole forest.
Yeah, I love this game. I just adore it. It's super new, but it's going to be a classic. I think it's got legs.
Yeah, I feel like I need to play this one.
I think it's got trees, not legs. Legs don't have trees. Get it right.
The creatures have legs.
I guess there are legs in the forest.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
So my number 67, I know Wendy's been doing this whole thing about that I'm reading the comment about the chips. I did have a bag of chips during it, or a few bags.
So many chips. How many chips did you eat?
I forgot to eat lunch, so I ate a bunch of chips. A bunch of bags of chips was my meal for that day.
Oh, you're so healthy.
But going back to my number
patronizing at all.
67.
Oh, that's true. Sorry, Bonnie said that trees have roots, which are basically legs.
Oh, that's how that works.
But have you seen Groot? That's exactly how it works.
Yes.
Groot's fantasy. Never mind.
I'm getting a lot of laughs out of the chat right now. But let's go to my 67. This game was higher on my list in previous years. I'm going to do the Wendy thing for once. This game was higher on my list. It's moved down a little, but it's still an amazing game. Twilight Struggle.
Gotcha.
Have either of you played this one?
No.
No,
I have not.
I haven't played many GMT games.
So this one is.
Which is surprising because doesn't your dad play a ton of GMT games?
I'm not into I like combat. I don't
This
like real
is
war.
so.
So
This is a
I want to
Euro.
have fake. I want to have fake fighting.
This is
into
not
combat. I
a
don't
real
like these
war.
games.
This is more of
it's more of a
Euro.
codish war. It's not very hot.
It is hot. It's a hot game. It's an awesome game. So the difference of this and other card-driven war-to-war, point-to-point war games is this one is more of a Euro game. It uses cubes, and it was the first game. It was the first card-driven game to use cubes and cubes to take spots, and it's more of an area-controlled cube game than it is a war game.
I do have to say that cubes on this map look better than cubes on those other two maps you showed us. So you're modernizing.
That's because this is a more modern game. This is if you're looking for one game other than one that I put earlier, 1960 Making of a President, this would be the other game if you're looking for kind of a bridge game from the wargaming style of those games to the more modern style. This fits there, and that's why this was number one on Board Game Geek for many, many, many years.
Yeah, when I started doing board games, this was number one.
Yes.
So. Yeah. Twilight Struggle. All right, my number 67 is a game in my favorite IP. I love Lord of the Rings, and this is a gigantic Lord of the Rings adventure-style game, and this is Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. I really enjoy this game. It has that same kind of system, sort of like Mansions of Madness, but I really actually like the card play in this more than the dice. And you get to choose how to build up your little deck as the campaign goes along, and you're kind of trying to make that deck better. You have tons of different characters from Lord of the Rings, but then they all have different skills you can give them, and you can mash that up together and make for interesting combinations, and you're going through all these different stories. Sometimes the stories are about exploring and trying to complete different things quickly. Sometimes the stories are about trying to figure out who did it in a tavern. There's all sorts of crazy, interesting things. And there's lots of bosses you fight up against and just different stuff you're going through. A lot of times it's a race to try to get to the end of the campaign. There's a bunch of things to explore, but you normally can't explore everything unless you're playing in the adventure mode that they have. But you can play it as casually as you want. The one thing about this is I feel like this would be even higher on my list, and it should be higher on the list because I love the mechanics so much, but the fact that it's a campaign makes it just so much harder for me to get to the table.
Well, the app is not friendly either when it comes to campaigns.
It doesn't allow you to jump in or jump out at any point. You kind of have to have the same app on the same device and continue to do it with that campaign and not mess it up. I have played this solo, and I enjoyed that as well, but it's just not the same as being able to sit down. I can't be hey, do you want to come over and play Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth? I have to be hey, do you want to commit your life to Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth? Which is a completely different thing,
You sound like a necromancer. I'm not committing my life to anything.
Well, you don't want to be hey, you have to put the one ring on and you can never take it off, You have to be with me forever. Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth is too much of a commitment, but I still really enjoy the game.
Well, then you and Ruthie, you're going to be committed for life, right?
I know.
Yes.
You literally put a ring on her finger.
This is like your commitment. This is your commitment.
That's not the song, Jason.
That was my Beyonce dance. That was my Beyonce dance.
We can tell who's single out on the couch. No,
I'm a single man. Anyway.
I don't know what's going on.
Lord of the Rings.
The
Lord of the Rings is an amazing game, and I love what they did with Mansions of Madness and this. The app. It not only does it make it easier to play through without having all those puzzle pieces and things, but
it makes it immersive.
It makes it immersive, and it gives so much more content because they could keep adding content into it through the app. That it's a never-ending game, and it is wonderful.
Yep,
it is
my,
wonderful.
My number 67, Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth.
Howdy, it's Tommy from Texas. And now, let's get our kicks with number 66.
Number 66 is another new game this year, and this is Ancient Knowledge. Have either one of you played?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
you have? Yeah.
Yes.
Dig it? So Ancient Knowledge is this card game, but what you're trying to do is you've got cards, and they're basically on a timer scrolling down each round on your board. They're moving down, and they have a bunch of pieces on them, and you want to remove all those pieces before they fall off, otherwise they're negative points at the end of the game. The thing is that each one of those cards has like ongoing abilities or fall off abilities, or they let you trigger certain actions. Like they just let you do a lot of cool stuff. You basically have this like time down engine that you're building across time, but you also need to make sure that you can remove all the stuff off of them so you don't get negative points. You're like, I really like this card, it's worth a ton of points. How can I find other cards in the deck to play so that I can remove all the stuff off of them? Because you can't just like remove stuff. Like you have to play cards that let you remove stuff. And so it's all about timing. Plus there's just a lot of other like side stuff you can do that lets you draw more cards, that lets you, you get these like specialty purple cards in front of you that are like
that have powers.
Special powers that are ongoing forever powers that are awesome. And then you've got certain objectives and stuff that you're trying to meet. There's just a lot going on, but I love that timing system of how do I set this up perfectly, because every card doesn't always start at the highest number.
Yes.
Like you have cards that are only out for 2 rounds and you have cards that are out for 5 rounds. And so you're trying to just time the whole puzzle. It's great.
And sometimes you don't want to get the pieces off because you might have a power that says, if I don't get pieces off, I'm going to score points. So there's like anti-powers as well. It's just a really, really well done game, and I absolutely love this one too.
This is one that I feel like I would enjoy if I got a chance to actually play it. I ran a bunch of the live streams and watched people play it, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet. So.
Yeah. It's good.
It is good. My number 66 is an older game. Going back to the older games, or I guess this is the first really older game that I've done in a while. It came out from a company called Adlungspiel, and they are kind of the button shy. They were like the button shy of the 90s and early 2000s, and the game is called Verrader. So this game it's the first game that had what you'd call the pick a character selection thing, what Citadels does and what a lot of games do now. This was the first game to do that, where there were characters and you had to pick a character in turn order, and then the character has different powers. And in this game, there's kind of towns, and there's a light side and a dark side on the town, and one character flips it from the light side to the dark side, and you're trying to get your influence into either the light side or the dark side. And along the way, you know, other things let you build and other things let you do different things, and you're trying to have the most influence on different areas of the board. And it's just a well done game and a really interesting company that made a lot of little card games that were really, really neat. And every game came in that same little card game box. And this one is one of my favorites from this company. They made a follow-up called Moiterer, which was a pirate ocean themed version of this with all sorts of different things.
Crazy.
Interesting.
Nice. My number 66 is a Euro game with worker placement and resource management. And combat with armies attacking you. This is After the Empire. So in After the Empire, it's a really cool game because you are doing worker placement, building up your resources, trying to build up your own little castle and your gold. But the more gold you have, the more these raiders are going to try to come and pillage your castle. So it's kind of like a castle, like tower defense game where you have all this stuff you're trying to, and the points are actually your gold in the game. And if you get ransacked, you fall back down in the amount of points you have. So, and you can also spend the gold to kind of like buy things to upgrade your castle. So it's like this tug of war of like, how much do I spend to like upgrade stuff, but then I also need to have points to actually win the game. And then the whole time you're like building up the different like turrets on the edges of your castle to be able to knock guys down, and getting mercenaries to help you fight off all of these raiders who are trying to do stuff, and you have your farms that are going to like help continue to give you resources, and just building all that stuff up. And I just love the tactile element of like building an actual castle and putting your little guys on the walls to defend the different areas. It's kind of interesting because you don't know which side they're attacking you from, and that actually matters for setup, but you can see some of it. So it's like, okay, I know there's going to be a couple guys here, I'm going to put some guys here to defend, guys here, and then sometimes there's face down cards. And you can take actions to look at those face down cards to kind of know what's coming, but also you can just kind of risk it and be like, I think they're going to attack from this side, or I'm mostly weak on this side, so I'm going to defend here. I just love the building up in this game and the way it works. And this is a very unique game for the way that the victory points is like the gold kind of like tug of wars, and it will be worse for you the more gold you have. So yeah, it's a very interesting game, and it's a lot of fun.
This basically sounds like Hadrian's Wall.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I haven't played Hadrian's Wall. Isn't Hadrian's
No,
Wall?
it's a roll and write.
Roll and write?
It's a roll and write.
At all. There's no dice in this at all.
No, this one's really good. This one I really enjoy as well, and yeah, it's.
I don't see a lot of people talking about it. I feel like if more people tried it out, it'd be like a lot more.
That's
interesting.
because a different game from Grey Fox came out sort of around the same time.
No, it was like at least a year after.
A year after, but a different game from Grey Fox got all the buzz.
No, I don't think that's the case. But yeah, After the Empire is a lot of fun.
Number 65.
All right, number 65 is a crossover with one of Z's favorites, and I think this was on your last list, Jason.
Was
that
it?
we were talking about. It's Five Tribes.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
So Five Tribes, Mancala style game. We talked about this before in the last video. What I really enjoy about this game is that there are so many possibilities about what you can do on your turn. So you can pick up the meeples in any one of those spaces, and you have to drop off one meeple at a time until you get to your final space, and then where that lands, that's going to be the action that you take. And the strength of it is going to be how many of that matching colors in that space. And so each one of those different spaces has different actions and abilities that they do. And so there are things that let you put out camels, they let you put out trees, they let you put out palaces, they let you collect cards. You can kill off and assassinate other meeples, either in people's like space that they're holding onto or on the board. So there's just like a lot of cool things that you can do. And I just really love that puzzle of looking at the board and going, ooh, where can I go? What can I do? How can I make the most awesome actions happen? So I like this one a lot.
I obviously think this is great. It was in my top 100 also in the last show. And something we didn't talk about is the expansions. And the expansions add a lot to the game as well. You have the one expansion adds the mountains that block spaces where you can't go through those spaces, and they add more Djinn cards, and the Djinn cards do such cool powers, and
Djinns are cool.
so
I don't really feel like it needs expansions.
but the two expansions are great for this.
I know I played one of them. I barely remember it, but I just remember thinking like, I'm happy with the base game. There's so much in it already.
You need to try this one, Roy. You would love it.
I would try it. We'll see.
He's not convinced.
So my number 65 is sort of a crossover with Wendy.
Sort of a crossover? How do you have a sort of crossover?
This is Euro Team Powers Activate.
Okay, what is it?
Shape of a card game, form of Terraforming Mars.
Ares Project. Oh, no.
Oh, just the OG?
Terraforming Mars, the regular OG.
OG.
It was much higher. The last time on my list, this was in my top 20, and it's moved down a little bit, mostly because there's other games that have come out since Terraforming Mars.
Like Ark Nova?
Other games that we'll talk about at some other point in the future that have come out since Terraforming Mars. But I still love this game. I think this, me and Tom saw this game and we were like, we saw the box, we're like, it doesn't look that good, but let's try it. And then
and the art doesn't look that good.
But then we played the game and we're like, this is one of the best tech building, like deck building, tech building.
Building up a tableau of stuff.
Tableau building tech card game out there. And it is so good. And, all the expansions add a lot of things to it. I also agree that Ares is great as well. And it's just a wonderful series, Terraforming Mars.
Nice.
It is. And I don't think Ares would be what it is without that original.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing.
So my 65 is a pre-crossover with Chris and Wendy, and probably also Jason. But this is a deck building game, the original deck building game, the OG Dominion. I really enjoy Dominion. I think Dominion is a blast. I mean, it's super simple of just literally building up your deck, getting the cards, trying to get different, I guess, victory point cards. But just the combos in this are just super fun. The way you build it up all together. You have your 10 cards out there. You have to figure out exactly which ones you want to buy. Do you want to go for money? Or are you trying to do this combos with all the actions, getting all the stuff, and just determining what you think is the best route for you to get there. And then hopefully the cards come out in the right order for you to be able to just spam that stuff over and over again. Dominion is a ton of fun to play, and there's a massive amount of expansions, so you can play with all sorts of different flavors. When I first saw this game, I was like, I don't want this game. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. But then after playing it, like, I fell in love, and I've enjoyed deck builders ever since. So yeah, Dominion is a blast to play.
This is one of those games that's like just mechanics.
Right, it's
just mechanics.
Yep. But
it's
it's so
great.
fun. It's so fast playing, you know.
So in the Dice Tower Library, if you come to one of our conventions, we have 5 boxes of Dominion, but they're each a kind of set that Tom decided kind of the cards kind of went together.
Yeah.
So you pull one off the shelf and you just play with anything in there, and you don't worry about the other boxes, so that it's approachable. Because at some point we just had so much in the library, we just had cases and cases of Dominion, that it was like too heavy to carry and pull off the shelf.
Right.
And so
Dominion.
it's a lot. There's a lot out there.
Dominion is an amazing game. There's another expansion coming out this year, in fact, for it. I got to see it recently, and so there's another expansion coming out. Jay showed it to me. And name dropping, Jay Tummelson, the owner of Rio Grande. And I remember when this game first came out.
Yeah.
And because I'm old school.
True that.
And
I mean,
I remember playing this, the prototype of it, and I was like, you have a hit. I looked at Jay and I'm like, you have a hit with this game. And yes, it's been a hit ever since, and it's inspired so many other games.
Yes.
And
Yeah, for sure.
one thing I have to say, I just got the app. There's a new app that just came out.
It's really good.
And the app is one of the best implementations of a board game into a app. And if you like this, you should get the app as well. You get everything. You get everything that's out there, including the promo cards, the black markets, all of that in the app.
That's cool. Nice.
On the menu today at the Board Game Diner, we're serving up number 64.
Ooh, I want 64 for lunch. I'm hungry. Okay, my number 64 was 16 on my list, 53, and now 64. And this is Rolled West. So this is a roll and write game, and it's one that I actually just played it again recently on Board Game Arena, and I just love it. So what you're doing is you're rolling dice each round, and you get to, once a round, basically like claim a die on someone else's turn, and you can mark it up as like an extra resource that you'll have accessible to any future turn when you're ready to use it. And what you're doing is you're combining dice and you're trying to decide what you want to do. Do you want to move up on the tracks at the bottom? Do you want to save up a bunch of the same stuff and fulfill contracts? Do you want to spend the gold and the silver and the copper to move along these other different tracks? And then finally there's like this little town square area where you get kind of endgame multipliers. And so do you want to go there and get extra points based on all the other stuff you're doing? So it's a quick, simple roll and write game, and this is one of my favorites. There are certain roll and write games that have stuck around a long time for me, and then there are ones that have kind of fallen off, and this is one that has it's stuck around. I like how it thematically just makes a lot of sense and ties in. I like the way that the dice work, that you have a lot of choices and good options as you're playing. So that's my fave.
Circle and check things.
See, I like this one as well. I obviously played the original board game because this was
I played
created
the original
after.
board game, yeah.
And I think this is a great re-implementation. You know, there's games that's something that, you know, have we done that? A top 10 games that have been board games that got turned into dice games, and top 10 dice games from a previous board game. But this is one of those that's a great dice implementation of a board game.
Games that have been smallified.
Yes.
Like Ares Expedition, maybe.
Yes.
There you go.
Or in the case of my next one, a game that has been expansionified many, many times. I'm going back to one of my favorite designers, as you could probably tell from this list. And I don't know why. I just substituted his middle initial instead of a D. If you make it an E,
Then he's a pastry.
then he's a pastry. And I got really hungry thinking about it. But this is from John D. Clare.
There's lunchtime, baby.
World.
It is.
What in the world. I saw it coming, and it still was as bad.
It is Space Base.
I love Space Base. Yeah, it's good.
I love Space Base. I have a feeling there might be a crossover. I hope there's a crossover on this one.
Space is in space.
It is just such a good game. I think most people know how this plays, but it's you roll 2 dice. You could take the 1 die. You could take the single dice, or you could take the combination of dice. You get to trigger stuff on yours. When other people roll, you get to trigger your secondary powers. And there's just so much going on in this game, and you're racing to get points, and it's just phenomenal. All the expansions are phenomenal. Me, Tom, and Joey just played the newest expansion like 3 weeks ago, and it's got more zigzaggy cards, and it's got new. You know how before you had the shuttles that you get that block the area? Now there's new cool things that come out there with all sorts of powers and stuff that do different things, and that's in the newest expansion that's going to be out real soon. We just played it. I absolutely love this game. I think it's genius.
This one has stuck around a long time.
Yeah.
Like they just keep making expansions.
I got to play this one with Scotty on the cruise, and it was cool to finally be able to play like a game like this with like Son or whatever. Just being able to like expanding in different styles of games. Also, go on the Dice Tower cruise.
Which, by the way, speaking of San Juan that I did earlier, we're going to go to Puerto Rico this year. So you can play San Juan in San Juan if you want.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
My number 64. I guess this is like 3 Euro-y games in a row, because Dominion's definitely Euro-y. This is a worker placement, or maybe drone placement, where you have these AI drones that are going out on a board, trying to do different things, getting resources or picking up people, and then coming back to your board and also having an ability there as well. This is Cryo, a Luke Laurie game. I really enjoy this. It has area control. It gives me kind of like a little bit of Alien Frontiers vibes, but I love the way that everything comes together. You're basically trying to get all of the different people that are in these life support pods underground before the sun comes up and burns up everything on the planet.
And use them as batteries.
But yeah, and you use them as batteries along the way or whatever, but you still don't want to like leave them there. You got to save them also. But the deeper you get in some areas can give you more points as you're getting people underground. But I like those area control games where it's like it's like a Euro-y engine of building different stuff up, and then you take it and then control different areas with the stuff, and you're fighting over back and forth. So it has that player interaction of like, I'm going to take this spot. Oh, no, I'm going to take it back. Or, oh, I'm going to put one more thing in there. Now I have it. It's kind of like an interesting way of having interaction. Then also I just love the pull stuff off and get an ability, and then you put it out and get an ability, and pull it off and get an ability. It's just an interesting way. And I just love the space, like sci-fi theme that is on Cryo. I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about this game, but I've really enjoyed it.
I do like that idea of like, as you put stuff out, as you take stuff back, you get those benefits.
And you kind of like build up a little bit of an engine with like, okay, because the stuff you're going out here to get, you're actually putting back on your board to like change stuff up. So
it's a really
I remember
good
liking
game.
it.
I liked it when I played it too. It's really good.
It's the batteries, man. The Matrix. Living in the Matrix
using
thing.
people as batteries is kind of funny. Yeah. So my 64.
Truck, is it a 63?
No, she's a 68. A well-loved and time-honored classic. Much like this next pick on the Dice Tower. Number 63.
My number 63 is an old game. It's a mass market game, and it's actually moved up on my list. So this was 90 last year.
Ooh.
And it's now 63, and this is Taboo. So I actually play this on the app. Like there's lots of Taboo apps actually that you can like find on your phone. But I play this with my daughter in the car because it's a really good way for her to learn to start finding ways to tell clues using alternate words instead of just the easy words. And so when we're on road trips and we're doing whatever together, or we're just in the car for a long time because we're driving up to Miami or something, like I'll just hand her my phone and she'll try to play taboo, you know what I mean? She'll try to get me to guess the words. And then sometimes if we're just waiting in the car, we got 20 minutes before we need to go in somewhere, like then I'll have her guess and I'll make the clues. So it's a fun game. It's become our kind of like mother-daughter car game.
Oh, nice.
And it's been great. So there you go, Taboo, number 63.
Does this have that timer where you have to press it?
I mean, it's on the phone, so you just press go.
I was talking about the actual Taboo.
Oh.
But yeah.
Yeah, it has a timer.
Yeah, it's such a good game. I like party games a lot, and this is a great party game, and it lasted for all those years. It came out so long ago. It came out, I think, when I was in high school, is when the original one came out. So before some of you guys were born, it came out. But it's such a good game. I really enjoy it. My number 63 is a newer game. It's another game that I think has a good shot at winning a Dice Tower Award this year. And when I say this year, I mean the 2023 games that we're going to be doing the awards at Gen Con. This is one that I got to play early and I get to talk about a lot when I'm with Arcane Wonders, and it's World Wonders. I've taught this game to at least 500 people at this point. I teach this game to everyone. I absolutely love this game.
You haven't taught this game to me.
Do you want me to teach it to you? Right after this, we could play a game of it.
Play it.
I'm pretty sure Chris just played this weekend.
Chris did play it this weekend. That was a big yup from the corner. I can't believe you haven't played it yet, Roy.
I know, I should.
So in this game, you are building a city, and there's different rules for each piece. Like roads can only be next to the bottom of the board, and next to other roads, and next to your towers. Your buildings can only be next to roads or next to the buildings of the same color. And then even the monuments that you build on have rules of where they can be built. So it's a polyomino game where you're using polyominoes to build out different things on the board. And at the same time, it's also a action point bidding game because you go in turn order and each thing, if you want to take a tile, it costs a certain amount of your action points. If you want to take a road, it costs a certain amount. And there's a limited amount each round, so everyone's going around buying up the things they want the most.
Oh, gotcha.
And you could buy the first player marker to guarantee your first place for the next turn. You could buy the second player marker, and it is such a good game. I absolutely think it's one of the best polyomino style games with the bidding, with the action point buying from the tableau as well. And yeah, we should play this. You will absolutely love it.
This one had a cool Dice Tower promo in it. Like it's like one of the wonders is now a little Dice Tower.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so you can build a little tower.
For our Kickstarter that just ended, yes, it's going to be great. And there's an expansion with even more wonders.
This one, the roads tripped me up because there's like rules on the roads. I can't just put them anywhere.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I don't know. For some reason, my brain was like arguing with the roads the entire game when I played it.
I love the polyominoes.
I do love the polyominoes. No, I liked it. I just was angry at the roads.
Well, my number 63 will be breaking the Euro chain here, but some people said it was a Euro during a recent list. It's definitely not a Euro game. This is a super thematic, cooperative game with tons of story in it and just crazy moments, and this is Eldritch Horror.
Is it a Euro game? No.
I don't know. But
you roll dice all the time.
You roll dice literally all the time. What was I going to say? I've enjoyed this game. I always enjoyed Arkham Horror, and played it a ton back in the day, and it kind of got me into all of these different Lovecraft games. And Eldritch Horror was just that, but with globe trotting, and it felt more like Indiana Jones as you're going across the whole map, going from here to there, trying to complete all these different missions, and crazy Cthulhu monsters are popping up everywhere, and you're working together. In this game, I feel like there's a big progression of you get more and more items that help you mitigate some of that luck, which makes it interesting. You can still get hammered by cards sometimes and just get wrecked. But I love the fact that you're working together. And I played this game with my dad a ton. I played it with my old game group a ton. And I still have everything for this game. So I really enjoy Eldritch Horror. It's a lot of fun.
I liked this back in the day when we were new gamers. I really loved reading the story cards.
Yeah.
And at some point I realized that I had read most of them before.
But that's why there's a million expansions.
There's a million expansions.
A million.
But then I also started realizing that because I wanted the game to go faster, I wasn't enjoying the story as much. And so then I was just looking at symbols and rolling for symbols. And then progressively it just kind of fell off my enjoyment list.
You have to get into
the
theme sometimes of the games to really enjoy the ambiance.
I did read my first Cthulhu novel this week.
You hadn't read any of them?
I had never read any of them.
All short
no,
stories.
and in fact, I think it's a more modern, different perspective on a different Cthulhu story, but it's called Ballad of Black Tom.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. No.
Yeah, so I think it's a modern author writing from different perspectives.
All audiobooks. So
yeah, right.
I didn't say I haven't read that one. I haven't heard that one.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah,
it was good.
I enjoy this, but I'm kind of in Wendy's camp on this, where it's okay, but it's not my favorite game, mostly because I'm not so much a thematic gamer. I'm more of a mechanics gamer.
I'm shook by that. I never would have guessed.
And there's not much mechanics in this. Move around and roll dice and collect
work
symbols.
But back in the day, I was all about this game.
But the other game that you put earlier today, which was Journeys to Middle-earth, adding the app and adding the story in the app has enhanced games like this, I really feel.
Well, because it allows it to have a cohesive story. That was the thing, is when I finally played, not Big Book of Magic, Mansions, Mansions of Magic. Like, that was when I was like, oh, this is a cohesive story. This is what I want. Playing Destinies. This is what I want. Like, that's what I wanted Eldritch Horror to be, and it was close, but just because it didn't have an app, it couldn't be that awesomeness.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah. So my number 63, Eldritch Horror.
Hi, I'm Caleb.
Hi, I'm Darian.
And we are Tabletops here to introduce number 14.
Nope.
49?
No.
73.
All right.
Oh.
62.
Yes, 62. I knew that. I knew that one.
Oh, 62. That was Azul, and mine, I don't know if it came out around the time of Azul, but I feel like I always associate it with Azul, and that is Sagrada. Did they come out kind of around the same time?
I thought you were going to say
They
Reef.
did.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say
So I always connect them. It was 41, then 51, then 62. It was like 10, 9, 11. I can't count. Sagrada is a game where you are drafting dice. You're doing like a little snake draft back and forth. And then you're trying to get those dice to fit specific requirements so that you don't ever have the same color and the same number next to each other. But then you also have a bunch of different objectives you're trying to meet. So you're like trying to have the most in a certain color with the most pips. But then you also, under the board, there's like very specific colors and things that you have to follow. So I like it so much. It's one of those puzzle games that goes relatively quickly. Chris and I tried playing the Legacy version, and I just felt like it was so much. We never really got into the Legacy version, which was sad because I liked that idea of having like a drawing version of Sagrada. But it just, there was a lot of minutia to it, so we just never finished it.
Isn't the drawing version of Sagrada called Sudoku?
Oh, no.
Sort of.
very
Yeah,
much the same
Sagrada
thing.
it has that whole Sudoku feel to it.
It does, yeah.
But the neat thing about Sagrada, and I really like this game as well, is the drafting, that you go once around and then you go once around backwards.
It can be brutal.
Be so,
It makes it so interesting which die you pick. When you're going early, you're like, I'm going to get stuck with something. When you're in the middle, you're like, okay, I can take these two. When you're like one away from the middle, you're like, they're going to maybe take these two, so I'll take this to hope to get this other one after. And it's the drafting mechanism in that is great. And of course, the building out and building this cool color chain of dice with different numbers. It looks really pretty as well. And
you can totally look at someone else's board and be like, I'm going to take this one because that's going to wreck you.
Exactly.
Yeah, Sagrada's good.
Yeah, Sagrada is not just good, it's great. If it's
For all the Sudoku people also, there's like Sudoku-like apps where you can do crossword puzzle Sudoku number stuff. Like,
oh, the number one is, I love Sudoku numbers, yes.
yeah, I just tried that for the first time yesterday.
Yes, the
I was
crossword
digging it.
puzzle one is great.
It was hard. I played on medium and I was like,
They had
this
that.
is as hard as I'm going to go.
I had that for my Nintendo DS, like before I got the Switch. The Nintendo DS had one that was just that.
Oh, cool.
And there was like 10,000 of them in there in the video game. It was great. So my number 62 is mostly Euro, but sort of Ameritrash. I don't know how to describe it. It's mostly Euro.
It's Euro trash.
It's a theme I like. It's a different theme, and it's a neat
Just tell us what it is.
push your luck bag grabber. Wonderland's War.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I got to play this finally because it takes a while. It's been hard to get into it because every time I wanted to play it, someone was playing it at our last couple conventions.
It's always checked out.
And I finally got to play it, and I love this. It's got kind of a Quacks of Quedlinburg kind of thing going on, where you're putting chips into the bag and then you're pulling them out, and but there's a whole game to it beyond just pulling things out, where you're fighting for areas and you're doing all sorts of things. And I absolutely adore this game. I love the theme too. It's there's not many Alice in Wonderland themed games out there, and this one does it very well. And all of the powers, everyone has your own unique power, and whether you're the Queen of Hearts or whether you're Alice or whatever, or the Cheshire Cat, it just works, and I really enjoy this one.
This is a game that I haven't played, but like every single convention that me and Ruthie are at together, we try to play this game and we still haven't gotten to play it.
That's what happened to me.
Like I keep going and be like, but people are normally like, oh, it's kind of long, it's kind of this, it's kind of that, but everybody says it's amazing. It's like, I want to play it. People are like, oh, Roy, you really like this. And like Ruthie's like, I want to play this game. And we keep trying to play it and we still haven't played it. Like, we try to play it West, we try to play it at the Retreat, we try to play it at East, we try to always play this game. So somebody, please teach me and Aretha how to play Wonderland's War. Please.
Yes.
All right, my number 62 is a big, I guess it's got like a little bit of area control, resource management. It's got action, super quick snappy turn actions that you upgrade as the game goes along. And this is Scythe.
That. Quick snappy turns.
Quick snappy turns.
So quick quickly and snappy.
You have to say quick snappy turns, quick and snappy, or else they're not quick snappy turns.
Okay.
But yeah, Scythe is a great game where it's got this whole track of like different ways you can score. Another thing that I really enjoy is the fact that the combat in this, that there's not a lot of combat that you need to do, but you can get a couple points off of combat. But it has that like basically like bidding of it has very like Dune-like combat in it as you're bidding a certain amount of like power to like best your opponent. I like to like outsmart your opponent. You can try to run to the middle to try to get the factory. You can try to have good reputation by doing like the good things off the exploration cards and things like that. There's a lot of different ways to get points, and you kind of have to diversify the ways you get points in this game to do well in it. But you also want to have like high reputation as the game goes along as well. But yeah, I've really enjoyed Scythe, and I like the fact that like you do things real quick and like build up your stuff and get your resources and build up your kind of little Scythe civilization,
Did you ever play My Little Scythe?
No, I would like to play that with my kids at some point.
With the pie fights.
The pie battles.
Yes. I've played both.
It's very cute.
I've played both, and I really like it. I love the powering up your stuff by taking it from the top to the bottom, and that whole engine building part of it, and
figuring out which actions you're going to upgrade to make them better.
Yeah, I mean, it just works, and it's a great game.
So yeah, my number 62, Scythe.
Hello, I'm Antonio Decante, and I'm from the YouTube channel Board Game to Tears. Tom, you asked for the sexy one.
What?
Oh, hey, John.
I'm pretty sure they said 61.
Oh.
The sexy one.
Family
number 61.
I'm 260 for my one, 260 for my one, 260.
Okay, this one has been on my list for 4 years now. It was my number 7, then my 10, then my 17, and it's hopped to 61. And this is just because I think I figured it out. Roy, you always talk about how with certain games you just feel like once you get them, you get them, and then there's like the mystery's gone.
Yep.
So I feel that a little bit with this, but I still really like it. So this is CO2.
Yes.
CO2 is a almost zero luck cooperative game where you just have a ton of information at the beginning. You have so many objectives you need to complete by the end, and you have to work together as a team to get it all done because everybody has to specialize, but also there's a lot of things that overlap. And so you're like, ooh, we both need to specialize in, the green tree track, but then also I'm trying to specialize in the blue track. So like there's a lot of different things that you're gaining information on and you're sending out your scientists. It's so very highly cooperative. One thing though is that I do feel like this game I figured out, and so playing it and introducing it to new people, it's really hard not to want to just take over.
I bet.
And so because it's just, you have to figure it all out from not from the beginning, but like you have to come in with a plan. And you basically plan out the whole round of turns, and then you take the turns.
Well, if there's zero luck and you can see it all, can't you just be like, all right, guys, I wrote this manual of what we're doing.
Basically. So it's a different setup every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all there, right?
Yeah, so it's all there. The big change is that the amount of CO2 that comes out every round is random, and where it comes out.
Yeah.
So you have
you
have to mitigate that.
Yeah.
But it's so minor. Like if you're playing the rest of the game the way you're supposed to be playing it, that's minor. Like that's not going to change a lot. It's not like Pandemic that you're like, oh no, the wrong thing was drawn and now we just auto lose. Like it's not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like this so much.
I do too. I enjoy this game a lot. I think it's one of the heavier co-op games, but it works very well.
I honestly wish there were more games like this. Like this is what I want out of not my everyday cooperative game, but I really enjoy this idea of like, let's figure out this whole puzzle together and just really like dig into something that's deep and heavier and, less luck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I agree.
And you have to cooperate so much.
I vehemently disagree. I like luck in my games. I like it to be exciting. I like to not know what's coming next.
Oh, it's exciting.
No, but just because doesn't mean that you're going to be able to resolve everything. You have to still work together to resolve everything that's going on.
Don't misplay. Don't misplay. that's board games in a nutshell. Don't misplay.
Yes, board games in a nutshell. Don't misplay.
There you go.
So my number 61 is a crossover, another crossover.
With me?
No,
Hey.
with Roy this
Oh,
time.
I did that on purpose. I
It's
feel
one of the
With
Euro
Roy
games
this
I just
time.
talked about. I'm going to be sad.
It's one that you talked about earlier.
Okay.
And there can be only one, just one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, party game.
I absolutely love
Like-
this game.
Highlander just won?
There can only be one in just
In this
one.
game,
Just
you get
one.
your head chopped off and I steal all your power.
You do. No, I love this game. We could play it everywhere at conventions. And Dice Tower Cruise, I pulled it out for people and we just played I never played just 13 cards. I'm like, let's just keep playing and playing and playing. Who cares about the 13 card rule?
Right, yeah.
You could just play. Like, the scoring doesn't matter in this game.
That's the truth of most party games, though.
That's
Like, the
the truth,
scoring
right.
doesn't matter.
That's how you know it's a good
Exactly.
party game, is if you don't really care
You
about
don't
the
care,
score.
yeah.
You just keep playing.
Exactly. But this is just a blast. It's so much fun to play. I love the reactions when you're like, oh, we both put Cookman. I think that's what it says. Cardamom. We both put cardamom. No, it's out.
Cardamom,
And
herbs, spooky.
I'm
what would
guessing it's
cardamom, herbs, and
elephant.
spooky?
Elephant's definitely the one it is.
Cardamom, herbs, and spooky.
It's spice.
Spice, baby.
Yes.
Du-du-du-du-du-du-du.
So, yes, this game it's amazing. If you're gonna, there's two party games that I pull out for most people. This is one of the party games that I pull out for most people when I'm doing a party game at this point.
And the other one, we will tell you later if we have time.
Yes, if we have time, we'll tell you about it.
It might be up. Anyway, my number 61 is another deck building game, but this one I like a little bit more than Dominion, but it is cooperative, lots of theme, and a theme that you're going to see over and over on my list. I'm sorry, I love Marvel. This is Marvel Legendary.
I thought it was going to be Lord of the Rings. I was like...
You also see
Lord
that
of the
over and over
Rings.
again on my list.
Yeah.
You'll probably see it even more someday when there's even more Lord of the Rings games.
I just go across the office and I just yell out things like, Lord of the Rings! And Roy just pops
You
up
need
and
to
he
be
just
yelling,
runs.
for the Shire! Anyway. I love Marvel Legendary. I have so much stuff for this, but I recently played one with Joey not that long ago where they had the What If series where they kind of had a new base, standalone set that was What If, and I had a lot of fun playing that. Played that with Ruthie, and me and Joey reviewed it, and I just like Marvel Legendary. It's deck building where you're building up your deck, you're both trying to make good decks, and then you're working to take out the villains, and then try to get enough strength to be able to take out the mastermind while all these schemes are coming out and screwing you up as the game goes along. It's just super simple. It's a lot easier to play than the Legendary Encounter series has a little bit more going on. This is a little bit more straightforward, and I feel like it's a little bit more approachable for people. But I really enjoy Marvel Legendary.
I played Alien.
Yes, it's got a little bit more going on.
Yeah, and I died on my first turn.
Right.
This
This
and
is
then I was
definitely
out.
not going to be that.
So I feel like I need to try it again.
Yeah, so Marvel Legendary it's just simpler. The Legendary Encounters have a little bit more going on. They've made them a little bit more complex, a little bit more in that realm of hard to win cooperative game. Like Marvel Legendary, you're probably going to win.
Yeah.
For the
Okay.
most part, you're probably going to win.
I dig that.
And you can pick masterminds that are more or less difficult to kind of make it the difficulty that you want. But yeah, I really enjoy Marvel Legendary.
I do too. I have a lot of Legendary in general.
It's crazy they're still coming out with this.
Yes, and one of my favorites of this, I know it's weird, but I liked the movie-themed ones that had the actual movie characters and movie art as opposed to the
stills,
cartoon art. I liked it. I also, do you remember at Gen Con, it was the year that this had, I think it was the year this came out. They had where you can make your own wound card.
Oh, yeah.
And it happened to be the year that I had just broken my wrist and had a cast, so I have a wound card going, ah! as my personal
Jason
wound
Levine
card. Yes.
And my favorite set from this is still Guardians of the Galaxy. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy set for Marvel Legendary. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. Do you play other versions, like the Buffy version and
I haven't played those.
Big Trouble in Little China? There's so many good versions.
I haven't played those as much, but I mostly just stick to there's so much of just the Marvel stuff. You know, I have so much of it, you know. But yeah, I love Legendary.
Would you call it marvelous?
It is Legendarious.
Yes.
Well, on that note, we are going to finish off today. Thanks for joining us. Once again, the Jack Fassel Foundation auction is up right now, so check that out if you're interested in making a donation or purchasing a game, which I guess is also a donation. And then on Thursday, we've got live stuff tomorrow. We've got the news. We've got, what else is tomorrow?
Crowd surfing.
Crowd surfing. And then we'll have the top 100s for Chris Millett and Joey on Thursday. So you get another double dash of that. So it's been a great week. We'll go ahead and see you later. I'm Wendy Yee.
Jason Levine, the Gaming Machine.
And I'm Roy Candy.
Have fun with your top 100 games.